stepping into my Friday. So today is the Vegan Woman Summit, and I am gonna be going. It is, what time is it? It is 9:46. So it started at 8, so I will be going. And yeah, I'm super excited. I am in my own collection. Baby LA is, of course, coming. And boom, I made this outfit. It's gonna be really hot today, so I'm super excited. So let's go and see what's gonna be. I'm super excited, honestly. Hey guys, so we have just arrived. It's at, I don't know where it's at, honestly, but it's somewhere in LA. I have to actually walk around because I'm in the back side. And yeah, so we're gonna walk around and we're gonna go to the front and go ahead and enter. It is Wicked Kitchen. They're gonna actually be having lunch for us. So you guys seen them on when they were at the Vegan Street Fair. So let's see that. It looks like they have ice cream this time. So y'all know I got some ice cream. This is the Vegan Woman Summit. Let's go. As I'm walking, I see Live. They are another vendor that's gonna be there. So yay! All right, let's go. Live. Hi, Live. They're gonna be at the Women's Vegan Summit. So I believe I'm walking through the entrance. I'm not really sure. So yeah, we're walking in. Got our ice cream.
Wow, this is great, and now I'm curious and I'm leaning in and I want to learn more, and I'm willing to make other changes. So I think that's what we're trying to do, is get people wherever they are on the journey. I think we all have to continue to work towards,
so this is the entrance.
Because that's the only way we're going to hold it.
Top stop is to connect wireless. Throw away your business cards and use these wireless ones at the Vegan Woman Summit. So this is it. When you first walk in, this is the vendor side. Oh my gosh, it's literally so much stuff. So we're gonna walk around and see what we can see. So I'm vlogging. Can you tell me a little bit more about your brand?
Yes, of course. So we're liquid foods, and we make bacon from mushrooms.
Really? I love
So
mushrooms.
it's a mixture of plant fats and mushrooms and plant protein. And we're based in Barcelona right now, but we want to expand to the US after we launched in Europe. So we'll come here.
Perfect. Definitely check them out. This is the bacon. I got maple syrup on top. So let's try it. Girls like burgers. That's so true. Love it. The burgers. Got some chips, cheese. This is their cheese. Oh, so
and that was definitely a challenge. I got lots of heads of beans and stuff before I went away. I was like, this might be my only option, but you figure it out. I think that's the thing. It's like when you are really passionate about why you're doing it, which I am, you figure it out, and also you try and inform people while you're there. I feel like I was always talking to craft services and everything and trying to be like, hey, let's get more of this out here because it's important. And every time there was a vegan option, it was a lot more people than just me eating it. A lot of people didn't want to eat dairy and kind of feel sick at work for the rest of the day. And I think they started to realize that it was always disappearing, the food, and so there was a want for it and a need for it.
Love that, love that. What about you, Joanne?
Oh, yeah, no, traveling can be very tough, but I mean, as vegans, I'm sure we all know, it's all about how much research you do before you step onto the bus or get into a plane, or, even to the point where I'm like, well, I want to know what's on your menu, hotel, before I decide to book a room with you. In fact, sometimes I call them in advance and I say, hey, if you have any vegan options for me, because I'm not going to stay with you if you don't. So I think that, planning is certainly a big part of it. I will say, it's probably the hardest part about being vegan for me. It's never like I miss a food or I wish I could eat a hamburger or a kalbi or something like that. It's always more like I really wish I could just walk into any restaurant or walk into any store or any hotel and know that I have not just lettuce, to eat. That's what I really miss. But you know what? I always tell myself that's a small price to pay for knowing that what I'm doing is the right thing.
Some of your biggest challenges that you've faced staying true to your values on animal advocacy and compassionate living, especially as a woman in the entertainment industry.
Yeah, like I was saying, it can be hard on set sometimes. I remember there was one job and on the entire set there were only 2 of us that were vegan, and I had like a week off. He was on the crew and I had a week off, and then I came back for months. And when I came back, he wasn't vegan anymore. And I was like, what are you talking about? And he's like, honestly, I just felt so overwhelmed and like pressured by who was cooking our food that they made me feel bad for it, so I just stopped. I was like, that's insane to me. And so I went to them one day and I was just like, can I get the vegan option? They were like, oh yeah, it's really, really difficult because you're the only one here. And I was like, right, but everyone here can eat what I'm eating. Every single person. So how does that make any sense? And I didn't back down, and I am someone that gets intimidated with confrontation. I don't love it. But at the same time, it's kind of just blows my mind that that's not an obvious thing. There can be replacements. They made a salad with fish sauce, and I'm like, there's a ton of vegetarians on set. Like, you can choose something else. Like, it's very, very easy to replace, and I think because I cook so much, I'm aware how easy it is to replace, but I just think that it's just understanding and accepting. I think I found that trying to come from a place of not judging people for not being vegan because they get defensive instantly, or I feel like we're not, when you're proud of being vegan and talking about it, people instantly see that as, oh my God, you're so much. And it's like, no, I'm just excited about it, and it's kind of crazy that you have to back down and come at it from another place, but it's the only way that I found that people realize, oh, I'm not attacking them, and then they start to listen, and then they start to accept, and then they start to like create options for you, and then they start to learn, and then things change. So that's been really helpful for me as a non-confrontational person, but also standing up when it's not going that way and saying, okay, but I am here, I am working on this job. Your job is to make food for the entire cast and crew, so you will make vegan food.
One thing that I've heard people say, you made mention to it, is, when they're dealing with their families or their close friends, they automatically feel attacked because we've chosen plant-based or veganism. And what I've said to them is, in that moment, you have to realize it's not about you. You're making a different choice for yourself that they have made for themselves, and they feel judged. Not because of something that you did to them, not because of something you said to them, but especially your family, because they feel like, I raised you this way, and why is that not good enough for you? Why are you choosing to eat differently, or parent your children differently, or approach education differently, or whatever it is? They feel like, you're judging me because you're choosing differently. And I think when we see people that way and have compassion for where they're coming from, then we're able to approach our position, come from our own perspective, in a compassionate manner. And then they acquiesce a little bit, they relax in it a little bit, enough for us to get a word in, What do you foresee as the future for plant-based living?
Well, I think the future for plant-based living is prevalence, right? in order for it to become a broad and prevailing way of living, there needs to be adequate and effective representation, adequate and effective advocacy in order to drive demand. We here, sitting here today, live in a capitalistic world. As a result of that, if we want to move the needle towards a more plant-based way of living for not just the people in this room, for all the people outside of this room, then we need to pull those capitalistic levers. We need to create demand. The way to create demand, of course, is, again, effective advocacy and effective representation. And I know, Jenny, one of the things that she talks about, which I think is so important, is, do we have an adequately diverse industry in the vegan world? Are there enough diverse members? And I think the answer is yes, we have diversity, but perhaps we're not doing a good enough job of representing that diversity. Are diverse voices getting out there so that, for example, with me, people are saying, well, no, actually Korean people can be vegan because there's this woman on the internet, her name is Joanne, and she's Korean and she's vegan and she's got a book and she does all these recipes and sure makes looking very easy to me. And I think that the more we have that kind of representation, advocacy becomes more effective, and then people start saying, well, no, I don't want to eat a regular meat burger. I want a Beyond Meat burger this time. And the more we have that, the more the capitalistic levers are pulled in order to create that sort of prevailing shift towards a plant-based world. Okay? And that they weren't being a good or strong or important woman to their family unless they were always suffering. Like that was like, being a sufferer means that you're being the best woman. I mean, that was like my family. And it took me a really long time for me to realize, no, actually, the inheritance I choose is joy. I don't want to be a sufferer. So I always feel like for women, screw the suffering, man. You sacrifice, okay, but your inheritance is joy. You have to fight for it sometimes. It doesn't always land in your lap, but you absolutely are entitled to it. You just have to go for it. And I wish more women knew that is what's out there waiting for them.
I mean, I can't follow up that. That was the perfect way to end. We're good.
I feel the same. I do it.
But another big exception is that eating plant-based is expensive.
There's a reason walnuts are shaped like a brain, because they are a critical brain food. So are there any foods, I mean, all the plants are probably incredible for mental health, but are there 5 foods that you can throw out at us?
Yes, I love that question. So walnuts definitely shape as the brain. It has omega-3, so pumpkin seeds too. And when I think about mental health, we want the building blocks. So we want omega-3 rich foods, like I said, nuts and seeds. We also want B vitamins because they also help bring the serotonin, the happy hormone. So that's folate-rich foods too, greens, spinach. I'm a big fan of that. And the precursors to serotonin and dopamine also are tryptophan, tyrosine foods, which are going to be my favorites: pumpkin seeds, chia seeds, flax seeds. All these are really, really good. And then tofu also is another one. So any of your edamames are good. So it's one of my favorite questions, but really omega-3s, B vitamins, tryptophan, tyrosine, and of course high fiber foods. And that really, you're in a place where you can have that diversity. I wouldn't just focus on the fruits. We need it all, but we need the fruits, the beans, the lentils, and the veggies, nuts, and seeds.
This is a panel on the future of health and wellness. I want to hear from all of you kind of what excites you the most in your own work and your own practices about the future of plant-based wellness, and also, is there something that is concerning you?
I'll go. So a lot of things that are concerning me, but I'm excited about the awakening that's happening. I feel like more people are asking, where does their food come from and why is it the way it is? And I just what's concerning for me right now is how much power that big corporations, and one that we're all guilty of, is big tech. How much big tech and big corporations actually have and play a role in our future. Because what we've done is instead of growing our own food or walking ourselves or driving ourselves to the grocery stores, I'm guilty of it too, so I'm not pointing a finger. I sometimes do Instacart because I'm just like, I have all these things to do, but I need these ingredients to meal prep. What's really concerning is how much we're allowing big tech to dictate our future instead of us as the masses getting in saying, no, I'm gonna, even if it's growing a small tomato plant, like putting some power back in our hands, because right now, as a society, we're powerless. You can't do anything right now without walking outside of your door without even your phone.
Challenge for me.
Yeah. Okay, so I wanted to start with, I guess, what the concerns are. I was watching the footage of the COP26 conference, and I was so sad to see that they didn't really discuss plant-based nutrition at all in the future of environmental health, when we know planetary health, human health is so completely linked to plant-based nutrition. In fact, it's the single biggest thing that any individual person can do to help the planet. Yes, absolutely. So I would say that is something that concerns me. And also, on what Charity said as well, there was very little emphasis on soil health. We know how important it is to nourish our soil with all those nutrients, with all those minerals that we will then imbibe through the vegetables that we eat from that soil. So I was really sad to see that in COP26 they didn't talk about soil health and they didn't talk about plant-based nutrition, but I do believe that that's something that we can really change as individuals. And I see all of you here today in this audience, all these incredible women, these incredible change makers. You all have a seed of change in your hearts. And I'd really love for you guys to think about what you've learned today in all the panels, what you're hoping to learn this afternoon, and take in those things to really inspire you to talk to your family, your friends, your loved ones about the things that you've heard and hopefully share with the world. So I do think there's a lot of hope, there's a lot of people that are really opening up in their consciousness about this, and I want each and every one of you to think of one person that you'd like to share these messages with and take it forward.
We're coming together, we're having compassion for one another, for humans, for our animals, our world. I think the biggest, I would say, challenge going forward are just the toxins, the environment, not just in the soil, but in the air, in the plastic industry. There's phytates, BPA, and we're just exposed, and it's really affecting mental health, hormonal health, and that's what I hope we can overcome. Toxic-free foods, toxic-free makeup, beauty products. It's actually being more and more apparent. Like, you can literally go to Target, TJ Maxx, and see these companies. So I encourage you out there, come up with innovation, creativity, get in your people's faces with love, and don't stop there. Be persistent, because that's how we all are. We show up every single day. You have an opportunity to go into their hearts and their families to impact their world, and they can spread it along to their other friends and family. So show up and be the example, and you are all leaders. So thank you.
Beautiful change makers. Yes. We were back there with the panels, but now it's lunchtime, so we're gonna go ahead and cruise around, get some snacks. Me and baby LA. Let's go. Okay. What is where is the guest suite? Sorry.
No, it's fine. No worries. Look up.
Hey, how are you? Pretty good. My machines are like, we're trying to let it rest for a little while.
I got me a picture. It's still developing. totally forgot to record this, y'all. I got this. This is the food that they're giving out. The crab cake is so amazing, and this is really good as well. So they're doing a collab with these pigs. I got in clutch, y'all. I just got in the line. Literally, the line is so around. This is Wick Kitchen. They're giving out ice cream, and then VO Life is giving out mac and cheese. So yes, we are here. It's super packed.
So, what was your first investment ever?
So basically, I came into it from a corporate career, first starting a business for the big company and then switching over to the investment arm. And it was a large media company, and so my first investment was actually a media for equity deal in-house. I don't know if you're aware of it. It's a big Silicon Valley company in interior design.
So, in regards to investing, my first investment might be a little surprising and it's maybe amateur, but from a young age, I think I actually started investing in things as small as Swarovski crystals because I could jewel cell phones and keychains and beads so I could make jewelry, and I went as far as buying a Dremel so I can learn how to do acrylic nails because all of my friends wanted to pay so much money for them. I went into Smart and Final and bought things in bulk, like chocolate bars when the kids were selling chocolate through their schools. Don't tell anyone, this is embarrassing. And I would go to door to door and sell chocolate bars at the same time. Awful. I repurposed pillowcases to make skirts so I could sell them to my friends. I pierced people's ears, I colored people's hair. I sold things out of my parents' garage that I probably shouldn't have. I invested in things so I could make money, and then it wasn't until I was about 16 years old. I didn't take the conventional route. I actually didn't even finish high school. I was also acting kind of around the same time. I started when I was about 5. So in and out of auditions, and cut me off if I'm taking too long, I'm sorry. So at about 16, I learned about stocks, bonds, and mutual funds at a community college nearby. And that was when I realized, oh, what am I doing with all this money that I'm making? I need to make money with my money. So my first real sophisticated investment in the stock market was in things that I wish I could have. I wanted a BMW at the time, so I bought shares in BMW. I wanted to shop at Whole Foods at the time, so I bought shares in Whole Foods. I wanted an Apple phone. I always wanted the latest phone. I wanted an iPhone, so I bought Apple stock. And that theory really served me as I became more and more comfortable investing in the stock market. I then decided to invest in Tesla before I could even afford a Tesla. This was 10, 12 years ago. And little things like that, and then got more and more comfortable and became an investor in small companies, small startup vegan companies, because I felt like that was the most purposeful to me, and if I could have an impact in products that served my lifestyle, then I was gonna do that. It's a very different investment model. It's a long game. It's something that you're in it because you love it, and that's how I invest nowadays. And my first investment was in a company called Outstanding Food.
We're looking at employment holistically. And I just hope that we get to a place one day where you can be that badass in the workplace and also say, hey, I gotta leave and I gotta go pick up my kids and I wanna go see their soccer game and not be shamed for it. Because it's really about the quality of your work and not the quantity. And we're not trying to be like men. We're a new being. We're a completely new person. So,
a lot of women you're working with, and you are able to do that. Do you want to talk about any challenges you've had? I mean, Nirva has 4 kids that she's raising, and has this job, and they even, you know, maybe you can talk about your journey too. It's so interesting to me, like when you start, talk about how you started. Okay, I find it fascinating, so I want everyone to hear it, but how you started with biomedical research, right? And then where that took you.
Yeah, so I thought, I loved science and math growing up, and I thought, okay, I'm going to do engineering, but I love animals, and I need to figure out how to incorporate all of that together. And as I learned about, you know, just animals and the way they fit into our society, and I learned about animal testing, and the fact that for any drug to be used by human beings, the drug has to be tested on a rodent species and a non-rodent species. And the rodent species is always mice and rats, and the non-rodent species is dogs. And we have this law, we have this Animal Welfare Act, which is supposed to protect animals. But even though 99% of the animals used in research are mice, they're exempted from the Animal Welfare Act, so they have absolutely no protection. So I thought, you know what, I'll be a biomedical engineer, and I'll devise these instruments to replace animal testing. And it was something that I wanted to do, but then when I learned more about the laws and the policies and all of the federal money subsidizing animal research, I thought, you know what, maybe I should go into law. So then I went to law school. And then,
as you do, when you're trying to fix a problem, I guess.
But I always had it in the back of my mind, and I think that no matter what you do, just keep that passion in the back for whatever, even whether it's the environment, whether it's animals, whether it's compassion for human beings, you know, child labor, like, you can make a difference. Your moment will happen. You will get there where it all comes together, and you will be just so moved by that. And I'm so grateful that now I'm able to serve on the board of Farm Sanctuary and be close to the animals, and I'm so excited that I'm at Harvard Law, where we're fighting. It's a group in Harvard Law called the Animal Law and Policy Group, and we litigate, and we hold the USDA and the FDA.
So impressive. But it's so interesting, you kind of pivot, you know, you see I want to change how animals are tested, and first you do one thing, and then you realize, well, wait a second, if I make this device that helps you test on something else other than animals, no one's going to use it if we don't change the law. And so you pivot and go to law school, and but then you moved to India as well, right? Yes. And then, so you had to kind of pivot and not practice law right away, and
it's okay.
It's came back.
Right. Yeah. And it's okay to not have your perfect path. I think just own that, be kind to yourself, but keep it always in the back of your mind that you will find your path. And I didn't really even realize all those little things made a difference to where I am today. So
we're going to stick with you for a second, because this lady over here beat Bobby Flay. We want to hear about that. What happened? What was he thinking having you on the show when he knew you were going to beat him? So tell us about that. How did that happen?
Oh my God. So the producers got in touch with me, and they said, hey, you know, would you be interested in competing on Bobby Flay or whatever? And I was like, yeah, I didn't know if it was gonna happen. I'm like, yeah, for sure, let's go through the process, right? So several interviews happened, and they said, well, Tamira, what we'd like to do is kind of work with your schedule as much as possible. So you have this window of time to pick the day that you would want to, you know, compete. It was like 3 weeks. I, of course, picked the latter of the 3 weeks so I can like think and prepare. And, so she called me back and she said, hey, we know you want this date, but we think you'd really be great for this episode. And that, I was going to curse. It was in like 3 days from the time that she was, I was like, shit. I was like, so I had so much going on with Solely Vegan, right? So much going with the expansion, and we expanded quickly, so I was having financial challenges. And I said, you know, okay, so I was like, all right. So here's the thing, right? So I was like, I was thinking of all these reasons in my head why I shouldn't do it, because I was like, you can't travel to New York right now. You have too many things going on. You got something on this day, da 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 da. And so I was talking to my son, who's one of my best advisors. I said, well, I don't know if I'm gonna do it. He was like, okay, well, everything that you're saying makes sense. If you have all this stuff going on and you really can't go, that makes sense. But if you're not going because you're scared, then you need to go. You gotta go in the direction of your fears. You have to go.
And that is a lesson for all women, true.
So I told myself, Tamara, just stay in your element and do it, and whatever happens, it's supposed to happen. If you trip and fall on the way down stage, because I've been doing that sometimes, and it's just gonna happen, right? So I just went ahead and I did it, and girl, look, I won that thing. The whole time, even though my emotions was like, fuck. Me and the sister that competed, Adair, she's a great girl. We was gelling and we was telling jokes and all the things, but I was still like on this emotional roller coaster. I just didn't know what was gonna happen. What's the secret ingredient? Like, then it was red potatoes, and I'm like, that's cool, but you gotta worry about consistency, blah, blah, blah. So many things were running through my head. But by the time I got to Bobby, I was like, Bobby, look, you gonna know my name after this. And now he knows my name.
What were the two dishes you made, like an etouffee and a burger, right?
Rosemary, red potato, etouffee, and then my vegan burger. Yeah, it was a lame name, but they were like, say vegan burger. I'm like, all right, vegan burger. Vegans don't, we don't say vegan burger. I mean, we got the name for burgers, right? When it's like vegan burger. I was like, all right, I'm with it. Either way, I'm winning.
I mean, what a lesson really for all of us.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, really. I mean, we gotta go with our fears and just rise up against it no matter what we're feeling, because that fear will just kill you. It will stop you in your tracks, and it's all over before you even get started.
Right.
So, all right, Danita, I want to hear about you. I want to hear. Okay, I know that you took some money from Shark Tank, not for your whole company, but it served you well, right? Tell us that story and where it's taken you.
So listen, Shark Tank, that's a whole nother beast, okay? If you are looking to apply to Shark Tank, just do it, because Dwayne said, look, I'm going to apply to Shark Tank. I said, okay. Well, we got the call and we were scheduled to come on the show. I was like, oh my gosh, I'm so nervous. But when we went on the stage and we got our pitch together, we knew our numbers, and Dwayne dominated, I dominated. We walked away with the big shark, Mark Cuban, and he opened up so many doors. And I will say, my team is the most amazing team in the world, because not only were we able to grow to 3,000 grocery store doors, we are also, we just closed our $6 million investment round. We have Circle Up, we have General Mills, and my daughter, I don't know if y'all love cereal, but my daughter loves their cereal. But it's just a dream come true. So I would say, you have to keep on walking. When you said keep on walking, follow your dreams, I always say, when you are walking, you keep on walking, you turn around, and one day you're living in your dream. And every 3 to 4 days, we're on the road, because guess what? What people don't know, even though we have all of these investments, even though we have all of this support, our product isn't on the shelf in some of the stores. So not only do we have to go do extra work, we've hired brokers, we've done all these things, but Dwayne and our team, they did this without brokers. Not only are we growing fast, we did this without brokers. So y'all gotta give it up for that, just alone. We did it alone, without brokers, okay? That's unheard of. To me, only in business, today, we are in 3,000 grocery store doors, okay? After Shark Tank. So that's amazing, but I also have to give glory and honor to God, because I have to say, my mother, she manifested it, and she taught us that you have to follow your dreams. You have to take a moment and just live in what you're doing. And this is our platform, this is our space to spread awareness. It's all about healthy lifestyles. It's not just a diet, right? It's an actual lifestyle. You have to start by little small things. So just be encouraged. You know, a lot of people have a lot to say, but you have to keep on going. If you know it's for you, then you keep on walking. Keep on walking. But I appreciate y'all for having all of these women here because you allow us to share our story. Part of my story is kind of, I could come from a mom perspective. I was working 16 to 18-hour days as an educator in the community. In the daytime, I was an administrator, and then in the evening, I was a cheerleading coach and a life skills counselor while running a company with my team. So I would say you have to have a great team because one of the things my mother said before she died was, your daughter deserves consistency. And what I try to provide every day, and I work hard to do, is provide consistency as a mother. I have to show up as a mother first, right? So to all the moms, you can do it. Whatever it is that you want to do, just make sure you have a good support system. You can do this, okay? Because we're doing it. And you see all these amazing women. We connected on the same thing because I resented my mom for a little bit because she provided a great lifestyle for me growing up in the industry of radio station. I was a radio station kid, and I thought it was crazy that everyone would look at me funny when I was pulling up in a love buggy. That's what they called the radio car, and I thought it was a joke. But my mom really set the foundation for me, and she taught me how to manifest. So if you don't believe it, don't speak it out your mouth. Your thoughts become your words, and your words become your actions. So watch what you say and do as you say and walk the walk. Okay? You can do it. You can do it.
Few words of wisdom for the audience here.
You know, you're not always going to have that crowd on that extra mile when you're working late at night, doing dishes in the middle of the night, and it's been 24 hours and you're trying to wake up because you're falling asleep and you're like, oh my gosh, it's going on forever and ever and ever, and it never stops. It never stops. But if you move in silence and you keep focused and you don't worry about that noise that's going on and oh, who's getting this attention and oh, blah, 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 what's going on here and there, it's going to happen for you. We're very quiet. We're pretty quiet, honestly. As a company, we're very quiet, but we do millions in sales. And the customers continue to come back, continue to come back, continue to come back. So my biggest thing, I think, also would be to invest in the people that have invested in you. There's people around you. There's your family. There's friends. There's the people who write the emails. Hey, you helped me so much. Invest in those people. Give back to those people. If you ever talk to any of our customers, they'll tell you they're the nicest people. We love all of our customers. We always give back to our customers. I love all y'all. Like, come talk to me. Honestly, if you come up to me and you think, she looks all cute and all this, let me tell you guys, most 90% of the time, I smell like chicken. I got a wrap over my head, and I look bad. But today,
I like vegan chicken.
Yes, vegan chicken. My nieces be like, you smell like chicken. I'm like, don't say that out loud. But seriously, you're gonna work hard, you're gonna bust your butt, and then you're gonna be like all these women, badass women. So.
Wisdom really quickly. We're getting kicked off stage.
Yeah. Short answer, yes. Do it. You only live once, and if you never try, you never know. And it's really, really hard work, but it's absolutely rewarding and worth it to do.
Absolutely fabulous. Thank you so much. I am so honored to have the opportunity to interview all of you. Thank you so much.
What do you think? You ever seen a crowd like this?
Well, I've seen some crowds.
You've seen some crowds? You see this many vegan women in a room, though?
Maybe. I think, but this is exciting.
Amazing. Okay, so I don't even know where to start. Your journey has been
insane. And you must be one of the longest running vegans here in the space. Would you mind telling the audience a little bit about what got you interested in the plant-based space?
Yes. I loved animals, and I was eating them for a long time while I still love them. And it took me, I rescued a lot of, I worked with PETA when I was really young, and I did things that felt easy, like, you know, I mean, it's not that it was easy, but anti-dissection campaigns, and, you know, don't wear fur, and things that didn't affect my actual, it was easy for me to sort of do. I wasn't ready at that time to recognize that I needed to be responsible for my choices. And so I rescued a dog named Samson, and he was my boyfriend. I mean, he slept with me, we kissed all the time, and he was just the greatest. And so I think that after petting him a lot, I started to recognize, with the help of that film, The Witness, I don't know if you know of The Witness, Tribe of Heart made this documentary a long time ago, and that movie really changed for me too. And I don't remember, oh, and then really I had a meeting, so anyway, I was petting my dog, and I just started to realize, what's the difference between his leg and mine? I bet my thigh tastes pretty good too. And why are we letting some animals be tortured and slaughtered, and, you know, other animals get to be your boyfriend? What is that about? And they both want to live, and they both want not to be harmed. So I was at a meeting with PETA, getting very frustrated, like as you do when you're young. What are you doing? Asking them what they were doing about everything, not recognizing that it was me who wasn't doing anything. And so when I left that meeting, I decided that day that I would be vegan. And yeah, and that was when I was 21. Wow. And I'm a lot older now.
21!
Yeah. So, yeah, and at first it was, you know, people really thought that was crazy. But you know, what happened to me, so I did it for the animals, but what happened was my whole health changed. Really a lot. At the time I was on an asthma inhaler, I had allergy shots twice a week, I had acne, and I was also being picked on for my weight at the time. So when I made this choice, all of those things changed. My skin, all my cystic acne went away, I stopped the asthma inhaler, the allergy shots went away. My allergist called and said, "Why have you not been in?" And I said, "I don't need to anymore." And he said, "What did you do?" And I said, I'm vegan. He said, "I've heard that works." And I said, "Why didn't you tell me?" He was like, "I wouldn't have a business." But it was all in jest, but was it? So everything changed. And the other thing that was so exciting is my nails. They used to be quite brittle, and they would break a lot, and they were thin, you know, I could bend them. And then when I changed my diet, they're so hard, you can't, I dare you to bend my nail, it's just impossible. So everything got so strong, and I started to feel more empowered. That was the biggest thing, I think, is I had access now to my heart that I didn't have before. I was living my truth, like all of you warriors, and anyone here who's trying or inspired to just dip your toes in. It's what you'll find is when I realized that it was possible for me to say no to what I didn't believe was right and stand in that conviction, and it really made me have self-worth that I didn't have before that. I don't think I would have been able to make some of these choices for my own health on my own. I needed the animals to do it for me. So then my health changed, and I dropped all this weight, and my skin got glowy, and everyone was like telling me how much different I looked and how different I felt in terms of the way my vibration in the world. And it was true. I felt like I was walking around lighter, and I was just I could now understand when people say, listen to your body, what is it telling you? What are you talking about? But now I really understand that if I put my hand on my heart, I have access to what I need. That I don't have to think so hard. The analyzing, the decision making, it's so exhausting. Our bodies, I'm gonna do this, I feel really, I think our bodies, our hearts and our bodies have so much information that our brains get in the way of. So if we just check in and say, you know, I don't know what the thing is, do I want to go dancing tonight? You know, if it's a very difficult decision to make at times, then you have to ask your heart, and it'll either kind of go up in a good vibration or down, and that means no. So I think that's kind of the journey that I went on, and I love it.
That is incredible. So many people are here because they want to take what they do on a day-to-day basis and make it meaningful and impactful. What advice would you give to those that are here today that want to make that leap?
You mean they want to bring veganism to their work?
Yeah,
you mean?
Like you did.
Well, I think that when you stand in your truth and you're aligned with your principles, only great things can happen. I have a podcast called The Real Heal, and I just interviewed Pinky Cole. And Pinky Cole is from Atlanta, for those that you don't know, and she has the slutty vegan.
She was at our first Vegan Women's Summit.
She was here?
She was at our first Vegan Women's Summit.
Yeah, so she's amazing, and she talks a lot about that, and I think I've experienced the same thing in a different way, but she talks about how she was, and you can go watch it and listen to her because she's fantastic and so funny and awesome. But she talks about how she was selling chicken at a restaurant, and then, you know, the restaurant, you all know because you probably heard it, but she was selling chicken and the place was burnt on fire, and then she had to come to terms with what she was doing and realize, I don't even eat chicken, I don't want people to eat chicken, and look at how she's built this empire. So I think whenever you stand in your truth, only good will come from it, and however you can bring it, it's every day, the little things. I mean, you know, if you go to, there's the little ways we can make change. You know, if your job doesn't have plant-based food and there's a cafeteria or something, you go and you have a nice meeting with them and you're kind and you just explain that this would be so much better. I had to do it, I would get invited to these eco events all the time for the rainforest and the earth. And every time they would have just like roast beef as the entree, and I said, I'm not doing this anymore, I'm not coming. So I started writing letters to them when they would invite me to places. I would say, thank you so much, and I really appreciate what you're trying to do, but by feeding people, you know, animal food that's literally destroying the rainforest, it doesn't make any sense. So when you're ready to have a plant-based meal, I will be there. But until then, I can't go. And because I thought I was going to be saying that forever. But I went to the London Fashion Awards 3 years ago, and the whole thing was vegan.
The Met Gala, yes. The Oscars.
Like, what's going on? We're taking over.
But not the UN. The UN still serving beef and lamb.
Yeah. Well, I hope that all those places continue to do it. I mean, I hope it wasn't just fashionable because Joaquin was there that year.
Yeah.
You know, I hope we continue to do it, but and it has to be good food. That's the other thing. Then you go to an animal event. There was such a well-intentioned, well-meaning thing, and the food would be terrible. And you go, guys, you can't have food be bad, then the people we're bringing aren't going to ever want to eat it. So I've been working like that in my workplace, you know, trying to, and with the clothes that I choose, and for movies and things, and just being really conscious about every single thing that you do matters, right? So I don't want to consume a bunch of vegan stuff because it's vegan. I want to consume, I want to be a responsible consumer and only have what I need. So I'd rather buy my clothes from the Real or get them from a natural, you know, an environmentally sound place. And when we make t-shirts as vegans, as any kind of animal activist group, we also have to make them with our earth in mind, because when we separate the earth from the animals, we're hurting the animals, and we're also hurting this animal, these mammals, you know, we're hurting ourselves. So we have to be conscious. I know that it's hard. I remember when I was vegan and I
didn't know about the environment yet, and Woody Harrelson was trying to teach me things, and I was just like, it's too much work. I'm already doing so much. Why do I have to also think about the products? And like they're already vegan. It's good enough. And you'd be like, no, the chemicals that you're putting into the earth and into your body, and then where's that going? And then our habitat. And so we all have to. I understand now that we have to. If we're going to make T-shirts, make them on, you know, some kind of organic cotton or sustainably made thing, because if it costs a teeny bit extra, I just think we have to do that, because it's just junk we're making then, and vegan junk isn't good either, right? So we want to be really mindful of what we're doing to our earth, because the soil is so screwed up. We have to get the soil back. We have like 10 years to get the soil back. And how you do that, we talked about this on the podcast too. I interviewed Zach Bush and Ed Begley Jr. And that was such a fun interview, and it's coming out soon. And we talked about how really everyone wants to keep reaching to the corporations and reaching to the government. Please make these changes. But it really starts with us. If we don't make these changes, if we don't demand that in our daily life, and I know you guys are so conscious and already doing this, but even just making sure that you're growing your own food, or not allowing chemicals into your land. If you're lucky enough to have a lawn or a patch of land, to make sure that that land is xeriscape or vegetables, so that you are feeding yourself and nourishing the soil, because we are drying it out and there's no biodiversity. There's no, the microbiome on the bottom is so bad. It's like there's just dry. We have to let things be covered with straw and things. Anyway, the point being, there's so much we have to do, and I don't know how to tell you specifically what you're doing in your job, but I would just say, if you just don't let anything go by. Make sure that you are, every single thing that you check, where am I putting my money? Where's this going? What is this thing gonna do? Where does this land? Oh, it's so cute, it's vegan, it's made of crap. Where's it going? And, just think these things through. Your dollar is the most powerful vote you can make. And I think kind conversations with people. All my friends don't do what I do. Most of my friends don't do half of what I do, and I still love them. But you just gotta make little funny jabs here and there, and you help show them stuff, and
Hey, so we are looking in the back. It's like so many vendors. It's the farm sanctuary. It's this. They have vegan chicken and they have vegan sandwiches. Look at all this vegan stuff. Oh, they put their picture up, but that vegan, look at that vegan chicken. It looks really amazing, honestly. Super delicious. Let me see if I can get me another burger, because that burger was so tasty. Yes. Oh. Okay? Yes. Like, look at this. More vegan options, guys. Okay, guys, we just got this chicken nuggets from Compton Vegan, and then we're in line for this right here. This is what we're in line for. This line is not moving at all, so I've been eating a lot. Everything has been super tasty, and I'm just loving how everything's just vegan. Like, you can just pick it up and be like, okay, I know this is vegan. So I'm so freaking happy about that. And I'm gonna try these little chicken tenders, and we'll see what they're hitting for.
I went, it's like a get around with the bed. My husband and I know and I said, and then I ate 3 days, they have 31 in New Jersey by law. And then I make sure we have water, make sure we have food. And then I don't try to get her out of bed.
So we are here. Cuddy, pick me up.
What's going on, y'all? We're here. We're in the building.
Yes. It is, what time is it?
It is 6:28.
6:28. It was over at 6. I had the most amazing time. It was so powerful. It was so like divine. It was just so amazing. So I got so much stuff. This is a hat that I got. These are some chips that I got. These chips are freaking delish. And you know, I just got a lot of samples. They had so many samples. And it was just amazing. So next year, we are gonna say Ooh La La Vegan is going to be on the panel speaking, because that's what I want to manifest. So it was super amazing. I'm so happy to be there, and that was my Friday.